everybody, welcome to Fox Always Podcast. We're on a garage witness with Tim, Stephen, and Daddy Mike.
Welcome to the Voxology Podcast. Congratulations, we're here with Tim Stafford and Daddy Mike. And who else?
With the energy.
And it's Hannah B.
And Hannah's going to join us, but who else?
I've got a basic guest for you.
But who are you?
Seth.
I'm Seth who?
Seth Erre.
Seth Erre. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. It is Thanksgiving break. It is early in the week because Tim Stafford is leaving town.
Yep.
So we are recording the day before Thanksgiving. It is glorious.
It's glorious.
Yes. Now, Seth.
Yeah.
What are we going to do for Thanksgiving? Mashed potatoes and turkey. Check.
Yep.
What else?
Gravy.
Gravy. Check. Mm-hmm. What else?
Apple pie.
Pumpkin pie.
Oh.
Check. What else? How good is Daddy's turkey?
I like ham.
What? You like ham?
Yes.
What are you talking about? How good is Daddy's turkey?
Gravy.
Gravy? No. Okay. Seth Thomas, you are fired. You are fired from the podcast for that
How good
answer.
is Dad's turkey?
Sorry, Voxology, guys.
Sorry, Voxology Podcast. Now, Seth, let's teach some math.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, now.
Now, Wednesday we go. Talk about slope.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about slope. All right, the slope of a line. Seth,
They're already beyond my level.
Talk to me.
The slope on a line positive, it goes up.
If the slope of a line is positive, it goes up.
If it's negative, it goes down.
If it's negative, it goes down. And if it's flat,
it goes 0,
0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yes.
That sounds like a song.
There it was, ladies and gentlemen. Math with Seth. Anything else you want to talk about today?
Yeah, Valerie, yes.
What else you want to talk about?
Tim, hit that music.
Tim, hit that music. Hey everybody, we're so glad that you are tuning in today. Welcome to the Voxology Podcast with a guest named Seth and another guest today named, because everyone's home. It's fantastic. We rarely record. It is the day before Thanksgiving, so we rarely record during the week when all the kids are home. They are home today.
They are home.
Tim Stafford. So ladies and gentlemen, really the co-host with the most host, this is Hannah Erre. Say hello, Hannah.
Hello.
Hannah is my 16-year-old daughter wrapped in a 50-year-old soul. Hannah is an old soul, and Hannah and I get into deep convos all the time. And we had her on, I don't know, episodes ago, and just talking about life. And there were many people who said, hey, we'd love to have Hannah back. So Hannah, good morning.
Good morning.
How late were you up last night with your friends?
I was up to like 3:30.
Okay.
But apparently they sit up later, but I fell asleep.
But you fell asleep first?
Yeah.
Nice. That's always the best thing to do when you're the host of a slumber party is fall asleep first.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. But she's up for this. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how important this is.
Yeah, this is way too early for me.
Wait, are all the sleepover people still here? There?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're still sleeping. Right. So Hannah's overachieving this morning, which is fantastic. But Hannah, I just want to do a little check-in today. Would love hearing your perspective on things. Hannah goes to a small Christian school, which was a bit of a decision point around us. We'd prefer public, but we thought it was easier when we moved to Tennessee to kind of have a smaller group of people to get to know. And Hannah hasn't always been a big fan of church and Christianity, and so she's in the middle. As we talk about deconstructing, it's fascinating because she's in the middle of doing some of that too. And so Hannah, my big question for you today, and go anywhere you want with this, as honest as you want with this, what are you seeing in, quote, Christianity as you experience it in church, as you experience it and see it as perceived in the news, as you're at school, that gives you hope? And what are things that really cause you concern? And you can pick whichever one you want to answer first.
For hope, I would definitely say again, I don't want to sound like I'm advertising Journey, but as an example, at youth group, I am given lots of permission to question and to express my doubts and my concerns and really just talk about why I don't believe some parts and why I do. And that's never looked down upon. It's actually encouraged. And so, yeah, permission's the big word I would use. Permission to disagree or...
Why is that so important to you in your process?
I don't know, because I feel like everyone does. And so the more you have to hide it, the more fake your own beliefs become,
Yep.
I feel like.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I would just say a lot of permission.
That's really good. Yeah, there's some spaces that are Christian that give you permission. That's a great thing for hopefulness.
Yes.
What about concern? This is a longer list, baby.
Well, things I've seen are just very like closed-minded people, like very black and white, right or wrong. And if you don't agree with all of this, you're not a real Christian. Like that is a very popular trend at places like my school.
Right.
And there's just a lot of really religious people are just not willing to, I don't know, how would you say that?
Be open about conversations where there's disagreement.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And things that...
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, there's certain topics where you feel like you have to guard your tongue.
Yeah.
Or you'll be sort of either looked down upon or excluded or
the Bible can like only be interpreted one
that was your
specific
big
way.
one.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah, that's your big one. Yeah, there's only one way to understand it, and if you don't understand it that way, you're not Christian.
Yes. And a lot of things people like to do is kind of pick and choose which sins they like to talk about. So they'll like extremely shame one sin and just completely ignore another that's mentioned because they do that.
Yes.
But so that's why I've gone to some really good conversations with teachers about gay marriage or gay rights because they are 100% that if you're gay and you're Christian, you have to pick God over your sexuality. And I just don't understand how that's fair. And so I told my history teacher, if I have to choose between gay rights and God, I'm going gay rights. Like that's not even a question. And he was like, well, then you don't believe in what the Bible says or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know. I just don't think that's how God is, you know? I mean, I could be wrong.
What is it that keeps you interested? Because one of the things that's really cool about you that I like is that so many people your age are apathetic. Like, they'll just do it because that's what you're supposed to do, or they just parrot whatever their parents think, or they just really don't even care. You have huge amounts of passion about all of this. Why do you think that is?
I don't really know. I take on a lot of people's emotions, and so whether I am a part of the LGBTQ community or not, or I am white, but yet I still like feel for that community and
the African American community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just think there's just so many unfair things, I guess. I don't know. Like after I watched a video of the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, and I just started sobbing.
You hadn't even heard about it until the verdict came out.
And I didn't give one thought to if he was guilty or innocent. I didn't care about the case. But just seeing situations like this, like just like physically makes me like so sick. And I'll get shamed at school for even caring, but I don't know. I just get so emotional about it a lot.
Yeah, because the rights of people are getting trampled on, and it's
just completely distorted.
Right. And it seems like there are parts of the Christian community that don't care about that.
Yes.
Is that right?
Or just so convinced that they're right and that's it.
Right. So how do you learn to, because some of your friends have very differing political and Christian views. So how do you learn to sort of be in relationship with those people even when you disagree?
That is a good question, because I've really had to learn that, because
you've done a great job
especially last year, it was kind of like, oh, if you don't disagree with me, like, I can't be friends with you. Like,
right.
I don't like you. You're not a good person. Because I had this kind of mindset of like,
yeah, you were that way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, if you don't like think the things I do, like, you're not a good person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the opposite political party, like, they're not good people. Like, they're whatever. But then when I moved somewhere to where literally if I wanted to make any friends, I'd have to not think that way. I guess okay, this is an example.
Mm-hmm. This is great.
One of my friends was talking about how at her church they like to do a chant called "Gay is not okay, pray the gay way."
Right.
Wow.
This is an example. A church.
Yeah.
That's wild.
A youth group, yes. Now, I would love to just completely shame her. Like, that's terrible. Like, just go off. Oh, my goodness. I so could. But then I think about it, and I'm like, these kids have grown up with their parents, and they've grown up in this little school, and that's it. Like, their parents and their churches, apparently, are just feeding them this information. And if that's all I was getting, I would think that, too. You know?
Yeah.
Well, actually, probably not. But, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you would.
Yeah. No. But literally, like, they've just been taught, like, this is right and anything else is wrong. Like,
right.
they're so passionate about it because that's literally all they've been showed.
Right.
You know?
Right. So you're able to find a bit of compassion for the person, not necessarily the view.
Yes, definitely not the view.
Yeah.
Especially not that view from a church. That made me so upset.
Yeah.
But yeah, things like that, where when it comes to the point where, you know, I need to, I don't know.
Yeah, you stand up where you need to stand up.
Yeah, especially in Bible class.
Yeah, I wish you could.
My Bible teacher
really
hates
want
me.
to.
Not literally, but certainly there is. What? Okay, one last question. You're doing great, by the way.
I would
for
pay
just
to be a
waking up.
fly on the wall.
Oh my goodness,
In
it's so
that
funny.
scenario.
Yes. So, and I'm sure the Bible teacher is wonderful, and kind, and all those sorts of things. But there have been we debrief the Bible lessons quite often. What seems to be the focus of Bible class? Like, what's the focus? What's the thing that's talked about most?
Like, don't do this.
Yeah, don't drink.
Yes. Oh my goodness. If we hit a vape ever, we're going to hell. One sip of alcohol, whatever. Or like he'll just go on and on about how like if you lie like at all, like you're going to hell. So I asked him. I was like,
Wow.
So you've never lied to, like save someone to like not hurt their feelings, just like a little buffer. And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. So
You're right, you just did right there.
Literally. I was like, all right. That's okay.
Yeah.
Or he'll talk about how like you should be forced to go to church. And I was just like, no, I don't think you should. I do love arguing with everything he says, but
Yes. Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, Hannah, and I love that you said that there's a softening of your heart towards people that you don't agree with. That's a really good and beautiful thing.
Yeah, that is a new thing. And yeah. So,
even if the views are, we think are.
It's a higher level of maturity than most adults.
Yeah, no, it really is. But I love, I mean, we get into she and I have so many conversations like this where she'll just sit down, particularly if I'm doing something else and not looking at her.
Yes.
That's the key part, is not looking at her and focusing on her.
I can go off.
Yes, and then there will be going off, and it is glorious. I just wanted to thank you, though. We're talking about something called deconstruction, which is this picture of people who were raised a certain way, and then they come to sort of question some of the beliefs that they were taught. And as a 16-year-old, you're doing that already.
Yes, I have been.
Right. I don't think you've ever not been doing that. So, and I love that people get a chance just to hear your heart and what you're thinking and wrestling with. It's such a different world that you're, growing up in than what even Tim and I were raised in. So thank you, babe.
Of course.
Anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. I'll probably leave and then remember like 10 things I didn't
That's
touch on.
always how it works. That's always
You just pop back in because it's the friends and family episode.
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
yeah,
if I remember something, I will.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love you,
You
babe.
should go wake everybody up and have a round table.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't think you want that.
Well, that would be evidence of the dynamic we're talking about.
Yes, very clear.
All right,
Watch it
baby.
play out.
All right. Thank you, darling, for
Of
getting
course.
up. You're awesome. It is a friends and family episode today at the Vox Podcast. You want to bring anyone on? What's Mazzy
Nope.
up to today?
I don't know. She's upstairs somewhere doing something. It would be interesting to see what she has to say on the world.
Oh, absolutely. If you've not tuned into her cooking shows, ladies and gentlemen, you are missing out. Absolutely. All right, so thank you for hanging out with a couple members of my family. I love it. One of the things, I'm learning so much about parenting and pastoring through parenting, and permission and, the long view and just all these incredible things growing up with these amazing humans, in our house and learning, tons about, the way I wish I had been parented around some of these things.
Yeah.
And nothing against my folks. My folks were amazing.
Yeah.
But they knew what they knew.
Yep.
And it's as my mom often says, like, it's just a whole different ballgame in terms of what parenting looks like. It's a lot more work, as it turns out. All right, so Tim, how are you?
Doing great.
What's Thanksgiving looking like?
We are driving to a little town in the right outside of Yosemite called Mariposa.
Ooh.
To some of our good friends live there, and a couple other good friends. We're just driving out there and doing a few days with that little crew.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
What are you guys doing? What I really love is like, hey, how good is Dad's turkey? I like ham. But how good is the turkey? Gravy?
That little curmudgeon. I tell you what. I couldn't
have scripted that better.
No, I make a really good turkey. That's all I'm going to say. Somebody emailed us and said, "Good luck with the turkey massage." So we have maybe the best community in the history of podcasting. And the response is we ask you to share a little bit about your story and your deconstruction. My goodness. So we thought, because it's Thanksgiving and Tim's dressed in all purple, including a purple beanie.
What a surprise.
So we just thought we'd read some of these and react to them. There are so many good thoughts, so much insight. It really is. It's really so fun to get to know our little crew, man. It's the best. Hey guys, I appreciated the conversation on deconstruction. The two biggest points I really connected with is this idea of corporate believing balanced with individual faith and the benefits of deconstruction. I question of what people are calling deconstruction is really what sanctification looks like.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sanctification is a big Bible word that talks about the process of being renewed into the image of Jesus. This is my insertion right there. He goes on to say, if we are being sanctified to be more like Jesus and less like the world, it seems that this process of choosing to look less like the church and more like Jesus is really healthy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we would say. If we look at this from that view, sanctification, we can more readily lead people through and to this process that is all about the work of God and not us. Thank you for tackling this great topics. It sure helps us pastors as we see these topics throughout our congregations. So I love that. And that's how I think we want to frame it. It's the idea that this is a necessary process of what repentance and being a disciple of Jesus looks like. And you see it all over Jesus' ministry with the disciples. Hey, Jesus, isn't the temple awesome? Yeah, but
totally. I think you've been using discipleship terms rather than deconstructing or reconstructing for a while now. And I think that this fits perfectly into that idea.
Another gentleman, I just finished episode 323, read the article. I read the article as something aimed at pastors or other people who deal with people who are, quote, deconstructing. I don't think it was aimed at deconstructors. I think that's very true. I think he left one huge thing out of the article. A lot of, quote, church kids have been going to Sunday school and the various programs as they grow up. They know all the right things to say, but it seems like their faith belongs to their parents. I don't know how to explain this better, but I hope you know what I mean. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hannah just commented on that.
Oh, yes. After they get out of high school and go to college or whatever, they're lost because they don't have any faith of their own. A lot of them deconstruct or whatever you want to call it, but there's nothing to take down. They end up reconstructing something that may not look like the faith of their parents. I think the most important thing for them to do is to own their faith so that if it's theirs, and when they eventually move on, they take it with them. The earlier in life they make this change, the better off they are. On the other side of it, parents need to loosen the reins a little and not overreact when a kid expresses some doubts and is trying to figure out all this stuff for themselves.
Yeah.
That is so important. There was a study done, and man, I wish I would have pulled that article. But they were measuring the differences between people who were... The whole study was about people who were raised in the church. And what were the differences between those who stuck around and those who didn't? And the one difference that was identified in the study and an accompanying article was that the ones who stuck around were given great permission to express doubt, uncertainty, questions. And the ones that were not given that same permission were the ones that ultimately left.
Totally.
And so I think this emailer is absolutely onto something. Now, having students own their faith can just be another substitute for, a construct that's not their own. Because own your faith can look like, the thing I'm amazed at about Hannah is that she is so passionate about all of this. Yeah. So like I said to her, so many people are apathetic and she's not. She is in it and she cares about it, and she cares when she sees hypocrisy, and she cares.
That's great.
It is. It's amazing. Why would you ever want to dampen that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Totally.
What's owning her faith look like? Well, it doesn't look like me making sure she's checking off certain doctrinal points. Right? It's providing environments where she gets to just wrestle. Yeah. And of course, we talk about it, but my talking is always in the form of questions. It's not in the form of, sometimes she'll say, well, what do you think? And then I'll say what I think.
Yeah.
But most of the times it's literally just prodding. Hey, have you considered this? The big thing we've been working on is loving people who disagree. And, not just her, but me and all of us.
I was going to say it, yeah.
But I've learned...
I'm very guilty.
Well, I've just learned so much about parenting through parenting teenagers, and how it just seems like there are so many parallels between how God parents us.
Totally.
And how we're invited to parent others.
Well, I still love, that whole thing just makes me think of the Sermon on the Mount and getting to the end and just being like, well, look, how would you sum this up? This is how I would sum this up.
Yeah.
After he just went through all this technical, instruction. And then it's just like, well, you know what? Just love your neighbor.
Yep.
And then it gets you into the rest is all commentary department. So
Right.
I see that in Hannah, where it's like she's wrestling with how to love everybody that's being marginalized or not. I mean, she naturally is loving those that are marginalized and then is working really hard at like loving those that she disagrees with or whatever. And so it's like that. I see that embodied right, like that teaching embodied right there.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Ridiculous. And,
which is so much further down the road than most of us. I love it though. I was such the like asking questions that pissed off when I was in high school and that age. Just like, well, what about this? And being like, you know what, Tim, shut up, just be quiet. Like, it's like, I want to know. Those two pieces don't connect.
Well, this relates. So this is a very, this gentleman is so fun and so affirming. Because we released the latest episode on a Tuesday, and he said he went to bed moderately troubled last night at the lack of voices in my ears on a Monday. I quickly told myself that you were pulling a Gombus and taking the week off for Thanksgiving. But lo and behold, there we were. That's right. The Voxology podcast never sleeps, my friend, never sleeps. Long-time listener, first-time emailer. I'm a pastor at a church. And so we're shocked at the number of people who are in vocational or nonprofit sort of ministry positions. And I want to shout out, I was at Rock Harbor this weekend.
Yeah.
So was Tim.
Yeah.
And it was a church I was a teaching pastor in for years and years and years back in the day. And it was so pleasant to find out a lot of the folks in leadership there listen to the podcast. So hello, it was delightful to be with you all. And we're thankful. We're so thankful for your encouragement. And what a great honor to have been there. And Tim and I and a friend of ours named Kevin and Brenda and Joanna. And then we joined a couple of Rock Harbor folks. We had so much good food and drink over the weekend. It was really disgusting. Anyway, so this is from a pastor. About the topic at hand, I've long been wrestling with this label of deconstructionism. I fully understand the concept and the process that surrounds it, however. I've been thinking more about renovation versus deconstruction. In fact, one of the guys from Rock Harbor was talking about remodeling. Mm-hmm. I fully understand the concept and the process that surrounds it. However, I've been thinking more about renovation versus deconstruction. It seems to me that we, followers of Jesus who are part of his church, are not looking to implode the totality of the church. Some of us, I think, are. But to evaluate and refine the errors and rotten components of the structure that has been built over the centuries. Tim hinted at a feeling I've had for some time right at the end of the episode when he said deconstruction is pulling apart the fabric. ... I wonder if the fear that some have with the term and the concept is directly related to the imagery of a wrecking ball, cue Miley here, destroying a building they want to see. Another part of this fear that I tend to see is directly related to the epistemological frame of foundationalism. Individuals fear that if one of their foundation structure of our beliefs, I'm sorry, I misread that. Individuals fear that if one of their foundation beliefs, a literal 6-day creation, for example, are knocked out, the whole belief system will topple over. Yeah. How do we help people work through the structure of our beliefs, not as a Jenga tower or pyramid of smarty candies, but as something far more complex? This is a really big issue. This is really a great, great question. When you talk with people who are fearful of deconstructionism, how many of them are operating from a foundationalist belief structure that does not permit the freedom of renovation? So good. I wholeheartedly support your idea that we're talking about symptoms of a much larger sickness that needs to be dealt with and healed within the church. I would love to hear your thoughts on how we can use language in a way that acknowledges the demolition that needs to happen while affirming in the same breath that we need to rebuild. How do we inspire and encourage the hard work after the demolition? How do we encourage and support those who fear the deconstruction will not result in a rebuilding, but only leave us with a pile of rubble? I too am a big turkey fan and find great joy in roasting the perfect bird. I can't wait to hear how Mike turns out this year. I would love to hear what Seth has to say about Denny Mike's turkey. You just heard ham.
You skipped over the fact that he really liked the Midnight Mass episode. So many people watch that show because of the podcast now. I feel like we should get a cut.
We should totally get a cut. Absolutely. Yeah, I did skip over that because it wasn't totally related, Tim Stafford. But let's talk about foundationalism. So when I went to graduate school in philosophy. And foundationalism is in epistemology is the question of how do you know something is true? And so it's a really important question these days, particularly around conspiracy theories and false news. And I mean, we're in an epistemological crisis. Yeah. And we're even in epistemological crisis in the church, right? Because just saying, well, the Bible says, everyone realizes now that you can make the Bible say all sorts of things. So what arbitrates different truth claims over and against others? And there are different ways of understanding how truth claims relate to each other. One way that I learned was foundationalism, and you picture a structure, a substructure upon which further truth claims are built using basic logic and intuition and common sense. And this is very famously part of Descartes. He was the father of this way of thinking when he tried to reduce down, knowledge into the one basic maxim. And I think, therefore I am, was what he came up with. And then everything is built on top of that. And so Christianity gets viewed often the very same way as per our pastor's analogy, that it's tied together, that if you lose a foundational belief, the whole thing comes crumbling down. The problem is that so many foundational beliefs turn out to not be foundational when put back into their original context. For instance, the rapture, the second coming of Jesus, the millennium, all of this left behind nonsense that was just crashing into Christian subculture throughout the 70s, 80s. I mean, this stuff is so not at all primary. And as we've talked about when looking at the book of Revelation, so not at all what the book of Revelation is teaching, that you realize, oh my goodness, that was supposed to be foundational. And you realize, nope, not even remotely is that foundational. And we could, multiply lots of different examples. But when Christianity is presented as an all or nothing belief package, we are setting people up for not just deconstruction, but deconversion. Yeah. Because if there's no room to wrestle with the text and no room to wrestle in community, then it's exactly what we see happening. People will go do that, but they'll do it outside. Yeah. The other way that truth can relate to each other, at least the way I was taught, and I think these were not the only two ways, but coherentism. Coherentism, if you don't picture a building, but picture a web. And there at the center of the web are kind of the central believings. And then as the web spins out, there are peripheral believings, but the closer you are to the center, the more important the particular believings are. And, we were taught that was kind of the postmodern epistemological turn, and that the web didn't have to, as long as the web cohered and was internally consistent, it didn't have to match up with external reality. So all that is to say, there's something very right, not only about how we understand what truth is, but how truth relates to other truth. And so I think there are foundational beliefs to Christianity. Absolutely. I think that list is super small. And I think that list leaves such a big room so much room at a big table. Yeah. For people from all over the place. But I would never construe those beliefs as a foundation of a superstructure. I would construe those beliefs more like central to a covenant or central to a relationship.
Why? Right? Yeah, will you tease that out?
Well, to be married to my wife, there are certain beliefs I have, But those beliefs are secondary to the relationship, but they support it and they nourish it. I believe that my wife loves me. I believe that my wife is faithful. I believe that my wife has integrity. I believe what she says, right? I mean, those are just simply like, I believe that she's good. I believe that her aims towards me and the family are for our flourishing. I believe when she says she's doing something that she's actually doing that something.
Right.
So those beliefs are necessary for the relationship to flourish.
Yeah.
But they're not the center of the relationship, not even remotely. Right. And if one of those beliefs turned out to be false, I would be devastated, right? Way more than just learning, I believed something that wasn't untrue. There's a much deeper pain there.
Yeah.
That is relational, right? It's not just I believed a lie, but I was living a lie. Mm-hmm. And that's the point. The scripture paints a reality that we're invited into. And there are beliefs that are central to that reality, no question about it. But the believings are not the reality.
Yeah.
Right? Living into the reality is the reality. And, the idea that God is good, that God has our flourishing in mind, that God is committed to us, that God keeps God's word, that the worldview of Jesus is a trustworthy way of seeing the world. Like those sorts of believings are really important.
Yeah. It's like you're given a bag of tools or pieces of something as you are going into the room of.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's a really important distinction, because I think most people have been given, and not just in the church, in life, have been given, this is how you do this. This is what you build off of. But what we find is that that there are circumstances that come up that you're unprepared for, or it's an organic thing that you are interacting with and relating with. And when a foundational piece is square and the problem you come up against is triangle,
right?
You're like, oh crap.
Yep.
This doesn't fit. This doesn't work. I'm out, or I don't get it, or I'm having a crisis. And
that's right.
So that distinction, I think, is so important. Even like when he talked about everyone loves a demo day in a renovation project. Yeah. I don't think everyone does love a demo day, though. I think for some people, a demo day scares the crap out of them because they are breaking apart the insides of their home. So everybody, that's just my experience has been that everybody is approaching. That's why I thought Josh's article was so dangerous, is because I've yet to meet two people who are approaching, air quotes, deconstruction from the same place. Yeah. And so it's an individual. There's just, you have to, or even the Sermon on the Mount, right? Like what we just said with Hannah. It's like Jesus gave you all of these ideas and tools and these specific things, and then was like, but the organic nature of it is that you need to love your neighbor. All these things will help you do exactly that and do it right.
Right.
But the relationship is between you and this person and this person and this person.
Right.
And it's just so much more organic and big than just follow these rules and you'll get an A+ on your Christianity exam.
Totally. And that's where Hannah and I really push back on our Bible teacher, where and I remember receiving these messages myself as a youth, 5 years ago or so. Don't drink, don't have sex, make sure you choose your friends wisely. I mean, it was just a moral code, and there's wisdom in the code.
Sure.
But that's framed as what following Jesus is and consists of. I mean,
it's like when we talk about the history,
tragic.
I've used that example a couple times on here, like how many history teachers are wrestling with, now that kids have the phones in their pockets and they have a computer with them at all times.
Yes.
It's less about memorizing the dates of things, but interacting with, why did this war happen? Like, what were the causes? What were these human beings arguing about or wrestling with that brought them to the point where they brought two countries to war? And then the kids are learning, like, something so much more important about a tragedy of humanity rather than just like, this happened in 1932.
Right. Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right, I gotta keep moving, man. We got more.
I'm sorry, Mike.
No, that was good, Timothy. Or should I call you Grimace?
That's probably more accurate in so many ways.
I'm in the process, this is a different email, I'm in the process of deconstruction, in quotes, as much as I dislike the term. You guys seem to hit the nail on the head most of the time in describing how I feel, where I'm at, how I got there. I'm in a church life situation where questioning isn't generally welcome. And so a lot of shame has come along with this process for me, and we're so sorry to hear that. I've become more confident over time and have been able to be more honest about my position in my circle of friends. And what do you know? A lot of them are in a similar process. If only we were more willing to share with one another and to be our true/truer selves, we'd make a lot of progress. Obviously, there's a time and a place for everything, and our level of vulnerability should match the appropriateness of the situation. Well said. No question. I wanted to recommend 2 books. So the first, and they're both by Brian Zahnd, Zahnd. One is called Postcards from Babylon, which was very helpful in how it more succinctly encapsulated how I was feeling about, and he gestures at everything. He and I do not agree in every detail, but his presentation of America as Babylon, instead of as Israel, helped make everything click for me as far as my outlook and cultural position. Yeah, right. The second book recommendation is Zahn's most recent release. I just bought it. I have not read it yet. Titled When Everything's on Fire, Faith Forged from the Ashes. This is essentially Zahn's letter to those who are deconstructing. I found it incredibly encouraging as I navigate the process. I read it in about a week and quickly loaned it to a friend. I wanted to get because I knew it could help them also. Thanks again for the amazing episode. If you could swing an interview with him, it would make for an amazing episode. And yes, we will definitely try to do that. Thanks again for your willingness to share on your podcast. It's an incredible resource to me in my current situation. I consider it a core part of my discipleship process. How cool is that? Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck with a turkey massage. Yep. Zahnd always has very interesting things to say. Absolutely. All right, different email. Hello, friends. Long-time listener, first-time emailer. I was thinking about the deconstruction episode, and I guess I'm just wondering why deconstruction of our faith is any different than deconstruction in other areas of our lives. Is there even an area of our lives where we don't have a process of deconstruction? Isn't this just growing as a human? It seems to me as that we grow older, we view the world differently, and our life experiences cause us to refresh our views. Getting married changed my views on marriage. Having a child changed my views on raising a child. Steph Curry changed my views on a basketball offense. Yes. Bourbon changed my views on drinking preferences.
Hello.
And the list goes on and on.
Dear emailer, we should hang out.
And thanks be to God for it all. I understand that faith has more weight than other areas of life, but I don't see how it isn't the natural flow of life. I have my guesses as to why the church hasn't embraced this process and these people, but that's for another day. I think that's a great way to say it, right?
Absolutely.
Like there is part of a deconstruction that's just called maturing.
Yeah.
How many of us believe, it's the Santa Claus thing. It's the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy.
Whoa. There may be listeners that
I'm just saying the thing. I didn't say anything about the thing. I just said it's the thing.
That's right.
And all of a sudden you grow and realize, oh, or like you said, for a long time the triangle shaped hole fit your faith, but now as you've turned round, and I mean physically and metaphorically,
it's true,
right? You just don't fit anymore. So anyway, no, I love that. Couple more. I mean, our community is just so ridiculously awesome. These are such great little nuance points. Great podcast about a horrible article. You were far kinder to the author than I would have been. We just left our evangelical spaces recently from a non-denominational megachurch, Christian school for the kids, job at the same school for me, to a mainline church, public school for the kids, and a job in public ed for me. I've called the move deconstruction, but it really is more like a purification of our faith. That's a great picture. We love Jesus and are hungry to follow him faithfully. To have the pain and upheaval we've gone through to become truer followers of Christ, treated so condescendingly, is frustrating. Wow. I love that. We didn't leave because our feelings were hurt or we have bad teaching or we want to sin more. Please. Or to be one of the cool kids. We left because the scales fell off our eyes and we couldn't abide the rod of Christian nationalism and racism that was rampant where we were. Well said, young lady. Boom. Another comment. The article just totally missed the point of the current zeitgeist. Great use of that word. I don't know what exactly he was trying to do with it. I guess make the self-righteous feel more self-righteous and the hurt more hurt, and leaving the way more ready to go. So let me say that better. I guess it was to make the self-righteous feel more self-righteous and the hurt feel more hurt, and the already out the door way more ready to go. Another comment, maybe it's just me, but one thing that got me frustrated is on the point discussing bad teaching versus good teaching. My problem is that when you are attempting to deconstruct and consequently reconstruct, you come to realize good teaching has never been unanimously agreed upon by any Christians. I mean, even Mike and Tim immediately say that neither of them, quote, have it all figured out. But when you think about it, what person has authority to qualify what better teaching actually is outside of Jesus himself? On top of that, it gets super unclear when you start interpreting or listening to your favorite teacher who has, quote, good teaching according to your standard, interpreting Jesus' teaching to a gathering of Christ followers about what Jesus even means in the portions of Scripture that seem entirely clear at face value. Example, love your enemies, turn the other cheek if your brother sins against you. Our opinion of what qualifies good or bad teaching seems to change depending on what our culture seems to value most at every given moment.
Or whatever lenses you brought in on that morning. It's like, there's so many qualifiers to that.
Yes. So we wanted to take time, and there are more. There are a couple I'm waiting to see if I have permission to read, because they're super, super personal. But they get at things that were missed in the article. We wanted to read these because our community is super thoughtful, and we thought kind of each of these points brought up different things, and it's just great to hear someone else other than Tim, who talks way too much.
That's right.
Why is it that the universal feedback is more Tim and more Seth and more Ham? Evidently, it's going to haunt me, Seth Thomas. So what we've got in the next couple of weeks, we've got an interview next episode with more on biblical manhood and womanhood, which is a topic we want to keep diving back to. Then we'll end this deconstruction conversation with reading some more emails and then kind of framing it how we see it. And not that it's, I just hope it clarifies maybe some things and picks up some things that were dropped or not covered in the article. And then we're thinking about doing a series at the beginning of the year on Genesis 1, 2, and 3, which we see are just massively foundational, not in the foundationalist way, but in the the beginning, man, that thing gets going super quick about strands that are left dangling that are picked up through the rest of the Bible. And it's a really misunderstood section of the Bible that has big implications for how we understand sin and new creation. And so we're gonna set some strands in motion and kind of pull those through, and I hope it'll be good. But that's kind of where we're headed. And as always, we're very grateful. Amy came on our Patreon team this week, and so we want to say thank you to Amy. I mean, I know I say it every week, but we're really grateful for the relational component and dynamic of this. That's the thing we're most grateful for. And we're grateful that people financially support it. We're just blessed to do this, and we're always thankful that there's a platform of people who find this helpful. And the fact that so many of you are in and around church space still, sharing a lot of the frustrations, but still working, because Tim and I are too. We're still in the church space. We can't get over it. Tim, tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because it's to me it's super interesting, kind of what you're working on in your local community. It's not church per se, but it is church.
Well, I think it's just a continuation. It's a very long form conversation. So prior to the pandemic, we did the first micro community here, and it was not in place of church. And I tried to be really straightforward with that we were not trying to pull people from church or to challenge church or to anything. We would not do it on Sunday mornings. We were just trying to create another space for people to come together to do exactly what Hannah was saying, actually, like create a space where we could all wrestle openly and talk about really difficult things and challenge those foundational elements that have been troublesome. Pandemic kind of derailed that, but there's a small group of us that are still pushing through that. And I'm very, very thankful for it, because it's I've hinted at it on other podcast episodes. There's very different, in my own small little town, there are very different brains and hearts that have come together, and I'm learning so much from how each of those brains and hearts process information. Rather than one person kind of telling us what the news or how to process something, I've just, in this season, I've learned so much from just listening to multiple people process and question and offer information. So there's something pretty powerful to the idea of two or more gathered and throwing stuff on the table and sorting through it together. So I'm just trying to, we're in a season where part of this deconstruction conversation is trying to figure out, what is church?
Yeah.
Why do we do it? Why do we meet? Why do we do it the way we do it? Should we be doing it differently? Is there a better way to do it? I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend that I do, and I also will not say that I think that the churches in town are doing anything wrong. I think there's wonderful gatherings of people in our town, and I'm not challenging that or anything like that, but I just want to understand. Yeah. I'm trying to posture myself in a position of being a lifelong learner, and I want to be better. I want to grow and be better. So it's fun to have people around me that want the same types of things, and we don't agree on half of the stuff we talk about, maybe sometimes, I don't know, but I love that process. I learned so much from conversation, which is why I love the podcast. I love doing this because I learn a ton, and people writing in questions and interacting with those, I learn a ton. So I'd never call myself a teacher. I would just say that I'm a consistent student.
I love that. Yeah, and it's really a cool thing, because part of what we hear and have experienced ourselves is that this is can be a very lonely process.
Yes.
And
it should not be.
No, the church should be the place where all of this happens.
And I'm not saying that our churches don't do that here, but we've definitely, partly because of the pandemic, I think, you were forced to build pods, which is what we had to do for education purposes. But through that, we also got a wonderful group of people that are pursuing Jesus authentically and really want to know more and want to grow more. And so hopefully, we can get these micro communities going again, because I think that it's just a wonderful thing to meet with different people and like sort through life together. Oh,
so true, buddy. Yep. Well said, man. Thank you. So by the time you hear this, y'all, you will have had Thanksgiving. I hope the awkward conversations were at a minimum.
Ooh.
Yep. And, that Black Friday was protested in your heart. And
don't talk about politics or religion unless you're people like Hannah and I, and then definitely talk about politics and religion.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There will be talk. Oh, yes. No question about it. And we love it. So anyway, friends, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance to you. And in these days, may he give you and may he give us peace.
Please.
And so thank you for the great honor of being a part of your life. We hope you're well. Till next time, friends.
Are you going to have it for Vox out of my guys? Bye. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this conversation. Voxology is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is supported by listeners just like yourself. If you'd like to partner with us, you can do so at patreon.com/Voxology. You can also join the community and hang out and chat with us on the socials. Facebook.com/Voxology Podcast and on Instagram @Voxology. Thank you for walking the long road with us.